Good morning, friends and frenemies, or whoever else watches this. I don't forget to press the like button and subscribe if you want to see any more content. Uh, Today I might get a little bit emotional. This might go a little bit long because I just came across this article. It says that the U.S. Catholic bishops have created this teaching document to rebuke Catholic politicians. Number one, if they're going to do that, they should start paying taxes like yesterday. If you're going to inject yourself into the political process, you need to pay up. I mean, already millionaires and billionaires don't pay. Now the Catholic Church is also going to go ahead and inject themselves, and they're not going to pay taxes. Well, if religious figures want to inject themselves in political processes, trying to sway politicians one way or another, it's only fair that they should pay taxes. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. If not, stay the heck out of the way. Now, as far as the teaching document, okay, it is not infallible. In other words, this is another moment in history when this group, and I'm going to call them group of thugs. I said it, thugs. And I'm referring to the bishops and the Catholic hierarchy that are trying to inject themselves into a political process, which, number one, the Christ would never have approved of. Okay, because you lead by example, not by trying to dictate to others what they should do, how they should lead their lives, or why they should lead their lives the way that you believe. If you believe that, go ahead, sell all your goods, give the proceeds to the poor. Then, maybe there will be a little bit more weight, but no, you live in your comfortable little houses provided by the church, so you're always protected and whatnot, yet have the gall to go ahead and condemn people that find the need to do different solutions to their problems. And look at this thing. Biden himself, in this document, these people, this group of thugs are trying to, and man, I really hate it because I have been a Catholic all my life, but it really angers me when I see people using the name of God in vain, because that's what they're doing. They're like, hey, we have the red phone to God. No, you don't. You don't. Okay, you are people who have studied the Bible and came up with your own interpretations, which have history shown us have not always been correct. You have made many mistakes in your interpretations. And because of those mistakes, the church came up with an infallibility clause, if you will, where it says, the Pope, in union with all of its bishops, in matters of faith, is infallible. Everything else is essentially what I call a swag, a scientific wild-ass guess, an educated guess as to what it should or should not be. And I say that because it is obvious, it has become evident to me that these bishops are creating rules and standards for other people to live by, but they haven't really followed the gospel. They don't. They just follow whatever is more convenient for them to stay relevant in the political environment, which is a bunch of hogwash. Is nothing like what Christ would have done. Christ remained relevant because of his example, because of the way he lived, not because he dictated rules to others. As a matter of fact, Christ criticized the Pharisees, the scribes, and the doctors of the law, because as he said, hey, you put burdens on other people which you yourself would not touch. So let's be clear about what this group of people, USA bishops especially, okay, are trying to actually do. They're trying to inject themselves into a political environment because they see that the Republicans might be favorable to them. Maybe too late they will find out that they won't. Republicans, just like every organization, looks out for its own self-interest. And when the Catholic Church is no longer relevant to them, they will kick it out. And then the Catholic Church will be like, I don't know what happened. Well, what happened is that you're supposed to be following the way of Christ, not the way of the politicians. Now, in this little document, they want to condemn all politicians, but guess this, okay? Biden is not saying, I want to commit abortion. He's saying, I want to let those women that feel the need for abortion or feel like, hey, my health is in danger, whatever reason, because abortion is not an easy thing for women to go by. Says, I want to have those women be able to make that decision because they're not cows, they're not cattle, they're not my property, they're not our property. Those women will make their decision based on their circumstances between them and the doctor. Oh no, we cannot allow that. The bishops are all, we can't. What the heck is wrong with these people? Have they even read the gospel? I mean, at least watch the life of Jesus so you can see what this man actually represented. He did not represent, you will all have to do what I tell you. All the contrary. He was sensitive to the needs of the people. He was sensitive to the individual circumstances. When they bring the prostitute to him, does he follow the law? No. He says, no, go on your way. Anybody, the first one that has any sin, go ahead and throw the first stone. Come on, do it. Nobody did. We're facing the same circumstance here. And we, as Christians, as Catholics, have to be aware when a bunch of people at the top are trying to gather power by selling us hair tonic. It doesn't work. Nobody has a red phone to God. Okay? There are interpretations of the Bible which we know that are decent. And it's not, and this is the problem that we have. Everything about the church for many years had been about sexuality. You have to marry. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't masturbate. Oh my God, no, if you masturbate, you will die. What happened? Nothing. Masturbation, as a matter of fact, is a healthy practice for those that are not married. Guess what? Okay, it's much better, I would say, and this is going to hurt a lot of people's ears. This is going to be a lot better than abusing children, which we cannot deny that the church has been a cover systematically for many pedophiles who find themselves in there, and then it's like, oh, well, I did it again. Oh, well, I did it again. And then decades later, we find out, hey, this guy was never stopped. Why? Oh, but women making their own decisions? No. This is really a non-Christian behavior. It is more like the Spanish Inquisition. Thou shalt do what I say, and if you don't, I will find a way to punish you. I suggest that the church move away, the USA bishops move away from this honestly hypocritical attitude of holier than thou. This is a decision given to women by God. If he wanted to give the decision to men, men would get pregnant. But guess what? It is women that get pregnant. The Bible is filled with passages about, hey, in this case, abortion not only is indicated, but it will be done. She was unfaithful. Abort. What the hell? Seriously. Get your heads on straight, bishops and priests that want to control other people's lives instead of loving your neighbor as you would like to love yourself if you were in their shoes. See, that is the problem with a lot of these religious authorities. They never place themselves in the shoes of those that they're supposed to lead, of those that they're supposed to lead with love. James somewhere says, mercy will triumph over justice, meaning that, hey, love is supposed to go ahead of whatever the law says, especially in Christianity. I mean, I understand politics and laws. No, that doesn't work, But that's why they're supposed to be separated, because it really becomes it becomes hell on earth. Every time that we have tried, or that people have tried, to instill religion as their political way of life, it becomes a shambles. It's an abuse of humanity. I mean, look at the places in that are Islamic and ruled by religion. We look at them and look, oh, savages. Well, what do you think is going to happen here? Religious leaders will do the same thing, except that they will claim to have the authority of the Almighty, which they don't. Okay? Nobody has a red phone to God. I know that for a fact. And I place my life on it. Okay? God has his own ways. He does things. He doesn't consult you, me, or the Pope, or the guy in Islam, or the guy in the Jewish church. He doesn't consult anybody. We are supposed to, with love for each other, move through the tangle that it is growing up. We're not still in the caves. We're not in the caves because Eve said, hey, let's go find out. And we followed her. Well, that's the general story. But we're not living in the caves. We're not scared of thunder. We're not scared of sickness, general sickness, because we have medicine, which religion quite often condemned. Okay? Every time that there is something forward, something that's changing, religion says, no, we can't, because God is never changing. Well, we have many thousands of years in which religion has said that God is never changing, and that may be so, but our knowledge and our understanding of the world in which we live has changed, and we have to adapt to it. How long ago was it that left-handed people were treated as if they were lepers? Huh? Oh, no, he has to write with the right hand. That thing about writing, no. Until we understood, guess what? The brain does some things in which, hey, this is the dominant hand. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but that's the way that God made it, and he didn't ask you. But at the time, representatives of the church were also claiming, as well as, the sun revolves around the earth. What happened with that? Okay? We as Christians and Catholics have to understand it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to be ruled by religion or by religious leaders. If you want to rule your life by following the Christ, by following Muhammad, by following Abraham, whoever, Buddha, whoever you want to, that's fine for you. And I hope you have a good life and give good example. But don't force it on me. Don't force it on anybody else. Because that is not extending the kingdom of God. That is extending the kingdom of hell. And we have seen it. Anybody that wants to see it, go back to the burning of the witches, the Holy Inquisition, all of this, the Crusades. We have horrific examples in history that tell us religion should not lead. Religion should be your personal experience, and you are free to live it as you want, but not to force it on others. That is anti-Christian, anti-Catholic, anti-ethical. It is, if you want to give it a name, it is a work of Satan to try to force others to live the way that you believe. So let's be careful about that. We're about to enter a similar age as we had in the Holy Inquisition. Do we really want that? Because this is not, nobody has an idea when the soul is instilled on a fetus. And as I said, I repeat, there are many verses in the Bible in which, hey, the woman should abort. The killing of children at 2 years old in order to save Jesus. Oh yeah, that is not a powerful and loving God. That is a God that says, hey, let's sacrifice so many for one. What happened there? We have to be honest with ourselves and understand that there are inconsistencies which reflect that, hey, you know what? Probably God wasn't at the desk writing this thing. Men were trying to identify what was happening. Flawed men who wrote flawed passages, who now we have to interpret within our own flaws. So it's not the absolute word of God. Whenever we read something, it's not exactly what's there. However, I will tell you one thing that I have found common in many religions, and it is this. The common golden rule of so long ago. Love your brother as yourself, or love your brethren as yourself, because this should include women, our dear sisters, who actually may have been the ones that brought us out of the caves, okay? What would you do if you were in their shoes? With their knowledge, with their understanding, without your knowledge, without your understanding, without your opportunities, what would you do? That's how you got to look at it. That's where empathy comes in. That's where you're able to say, you know what? Well, I don't think I would do this right now, given my circumstance. But given their circumstance, I would probably do, if not the same, something similar. And I'm not going to condemn them. I'm going to love them unconditionally, because they are also daughters and sons of God, as I am. And the fact that they are limited does not give me the right to put a target on their back. Because the church, don't give me that. When you condemn something or someone, you put a target on their back. And though you may not be killing or hurting those people personally, but you are telling everybody else it's open season on these people. That is a very hypocritical way of hurting others. It doesn't relieve you of, Cain, what have you done with your brother and or sister? Same question comes around when you put a target on them. So anyways, I want to caution bishops and Christians and Catholics. Which direction do you really want to go? The way of the Christ, or the way of putting a target on somebody else's back because they don't think or act like you, or they don't agree with you? Is that really the kingdom of heaven? It hasn't worked for over 2,000 years. So, if you like this, press the like button, subscribe, etc. And I will see you on the next one.